Hi, my name is Promise Johnson, and the name of my study was Exact or Rearranged Test Keys and Students' Test Scores. So my main focus was recognition. In a study done in 1971, researchers found that recency wasn't prevalent in final recognition or recall tests. Later on in 2006, they studied mild cognitive impairment subjects, and they found that recognition tests could predict mild cognitive impairment subjects better than free recall tests could. Finally, in 2011, they found that there was stronger recall in shorter words. I predicted that if students see a key of an exact copy of a test before they take it, then they'll get a higher score than students who see a key of a test with the same questions rearranged. My participants. I had 35 participants total, and the mean age was 18.54. The standard deviation was 0.85. The gender, there were 5 men, 29 women, and 1 other. And this is where I got the 18.54. They were mainly freshmen, 5 sophomore, 1 junior, and 1 senior. All the participants came from the psych research pool for Emporia State University. My materials. So my first material was the test. There were 15 multiple choice questions about the history of toys. And so an example question would be, what was the flavor of the original Pez candies? Peppermint was the answer. And the next material was the same order test with answers. The last material was the rearranged test with answers. And then I had the 3 demographic items as well. There was age, gender, and classification for those. So my design, it was a 2-group independent experimental design. The independent variable was the test with answers. So there was either the same order test or the rearranged test. And then the dependent variable was the test scores of the participants. So the procedure they went through on Qualtrics, they were shown the informed consent and they were given the prompt to either continue or stop the test. And all of the participants were randomly assigned. So in one group, they either saw the same order test with answers or the rearranged test with answers for 110 seconds. And following that 110 seconds, participants completed the test. And finally, they were debriefed. So the results for the toy test scores. So the rearranged test group, their mean score out of 15 was 12.05, and the standard deviation for that was 3.47. And I think, for this group, it was 19 participants. The same order test group, the mean score for the mean score for this group was 13.88 out of 15. And so the standard deviation was 1.82, and there were 16 participants for this group. So a t-test was performed for the independent groups, and there was a marginally significant result. The t-score was 1.99, negative 1.99. And so there was barely any significance for this. And this is just the figure for it. The mean answer scores for participants who either saw a rearranged test, which was 19, or the same order test key, which was 16, before taking the test. And the error bars show standard deviation. So my conclusions. I found there was no difference in scores for people who saw same order tests or rearranged tests. However, the same order group had marginally significant higher test scores. And compared to previous research, recency wasn't prevalent in recognition or recall. I had similar findings. and that was for the 1971 study. And then there was stronger recall in short words, while my study showed no significance in the longer test questions. And that was for the 2011 study. Limitations. So convenient samples. Since we used the pool for Emporia State University and the participants were only college students, we couldn't use these findings to generalize for a larger population, like older groups, younger groups. And then there was reactive arrangements. So pretty much since we're in COVID and people are at home taking the test, there could be more distractions, and that could affect the results of the test. And for future research, I would probably use larger samples from different populations since my study was pretty much freshmen. I would show the answers for less time. I feel like I gave participants a really long time to see the answers, and I only had 15 questions. So since I had 15 questions, I would probably add more, and I would have it face to face, but it wasn't doable because of COVID. The bottom line, while getting an exact key to a test is helpful, knowing the info in all forms is best. So it's always good to have all the answers and an exact key to a test, but it's always good to actually know the information so you're ready for anything thrown at you. And this is my reference page. And finally, acknowledgements. I want to thank the participants, all of the TAs, and Dr. Grover. And this is my email for any further questions. All right.